What is up, ladies and gentlemen, my diggity dogs? It's me, the young Mike Maggardo, and oh boy, that was such a bad joke. That was such a bad joke. Don't judge me. Uh, my apologies for that horrible joke. I was trying to sound funny, but that probably wasn't too funny. Anyways, though, as of right now, there has almost been 90,000 sexual abuse claims filed against the Boy Scouts of America. That is crazy. Almost 90,000 sexual abuse claims filed against them. It states here, close to 90,000 victims of sexual abuse that took place in the Boy Scouts of America are expected to come forward by Monday evening. Today is Monday, and it is also the evening, so yeah, there's that. The victims range from ages 8 to 93, and while the vast majority are men, some women have also filed complaints. The Associated Press done a post on this as well, stating here, close to 90,000 sexual abuse claims have been filed against the Boy Scouts of America. The number far exceeds the initial projections of lawyers across the U.S. who have been signing up clients since the Boy Scouts filed for bankruptcy protection in February in the face of hundreds of lawsuits alleging decades-old sexual abuse by Scout leaders. Now, if you didn't know, the Boy Scouts of America, has actually been around for over 100 years now. Where does it state that in this one? The bankruptcy has been painful for the 110-year-old Boy Scouts, which has been a pillar of American civic life for generations. Its finances were already strained by sexual abuse settlements and declining membership, now below 2 million from a peak of over 4 million in the 1970s. Now, a lot of these claims, it even states this in the article as well, most of the pending sexual abuse claims date back to the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, before the Scouts adopted criminal background checks, abuse prevention training for all staff and volunteers, and a rule that 2 or more adult leaders must be present during activities. So, for the longest time, they didn't have any sort of measures put into play to, stop things like this from happening. So it was basically like anybody, a straight up like child molester could just join into the Scouts if they wanted to, which is absolutely messed up. So, in a way, it doesn't shock me that a lot of people experienced, sexual abuse while being in the Boy Scouts. But at the same time, it does shock me. You know what I mean? Like, hearing so many cases like this coming out. But then again, it doesn't shock me since, there for the longest time, they didn't have any sort of measures put into play to prevent people, messed up people, fucked up people from coming in and joining the Scouts like this. And you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think. It makes me think back to watching the episode Cripple Fight of South Park. Like literally the first thing that I seen or thought of whenever I seen that there was 90,000 sexual abuse claims, or almost 90,000 sexual abuse claims being filed against the Boy Scouts, I thought of the episode of South Park Cripple Fight. And the episode of Cripple Fight on South Park was basically, what happened is a character, Big Gay Al, who, you guess it, is gay, joined into the Boy Scouts. He was like the scout leader or scout master or whatever. And at the time, this aired in 2001. Right, this aired in 2001. So they decided to kick him out of the Scouts, and I'm pretty sure they tried to say it was because he was a pedophile, but in reality, it turns out that it was just because he was gay. That's aside from the point. But they decided to kick him off of the Scouts. He was the scout master or whatever, and they decided to kick him off. They brought in some other guy who was like a big buff, like military-looking dude, and what happened was it turns out he was a pedophile. He would take sexually explicit photos of kids, and then he would threaten them if any of them, decided to come forward and explain what happened to them. So, even back then, South Park made an episode trying to shed some light on this issue, try to, inform people, saying, hey, look, the Boy Scouts is kind of a messed up organization because of what happens, to the kids that, that join the Boy Scouts. It also makes me think of when I was a kid. I want to say I was like 8 years old at the time. I think I was in the 3rd grade is when it was. I remember being called down to the cafeteria, and upon being called down there along with like the rest of my class, there was a scout master, scout leader, or whatever the hell it is, right? There was somebody down there. He handed out a flyer, and he was trying to influence us all to join the Scouts. And I remember seeing Kim and the flyer and just being like completely uninterested in joining the Scouts. I was like, I just remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, what are we doing here? I don't really care about this, But a lot of people were interested in it, in joining the Scouts. And, nothing wrong with that. If they're interested in joining in the Scouts, it's fine. It's all them. It's, none of my business. But, hearing about this, though, it takes me back to being, to these people trying to influence me to join their organization. It makes me think back to this episode of South Park where, even then a lot of people were experiencing issues with sexual abuse while joining the Scouts. It's overall crazy. And I just gotta say, to anybody who has been affected, like who's been sexually abused while being in the Boy Scouts, man, I hope you didn't hesitate to come forward and, have your claim filed against them, I guess. I hope that you did come forward. And if you did come forward about it, I want you to know that, you're not alone in this. And if you need some sort of help, or if you're experiencing, like if you're really messed up, like you're like screwed up because of, all of this stuff that happened to you while you was in the Scouts, just go seek help, man. I hope you can go seek help and you can get help, because, we as humans, we can't let stuff like this, just stay inside of us forever. We can't just bottle this stuff inside of us forever. We all need to seek help. And I mean, same thing just for anybody who's experienced some sort of like sexual abuse, growing up, or like just sexual abuse at any time. Come forward, man. Speak your mind. Tell people what happened. Explain your story and get help while you're doing it. I mean, I don't want people to experience things like this, but I know people will, regardless of whether I want them to or not. People out there that I both know and don't know will experience, acts of sexual abuse being, put upon them, right? People will experience that. And, I mean, it's sad, bro. It really is sad. So if you're like a victim of like any sort of sexual abuse, please come forward. Speak your mind, tell everybody your story, and get help while you're doing so. Because I mean that's honestly probably the best medicine, is just seeking help, really. Anyways though, everybody, thank you all for tuning into this video. If you guys enjoyed, man, I guess smash like. It would be super greatly appreciated. I love you guys. Stay beautiful. Do not go ugly on me either, man. And I'll see you all on the next one.